Hello, guys. You're welcome to today's episode of the Minority Report Nigeria. I'm Chidozie,
And I'm Walter.
and today we are continuing with the review of She Called Me Woman. Nigerian queer women speak.
Yeah, speaking about privilege and all that, there's another theme here about that. I was really it worried me a bit when I read it about adoption. There's one lady here, a
tried
queer
to
woman who's single, and she didn't. She wanted to have kids, but she didn't want to have to get married to a man to have those kids. So she decided she wanted to adopt, and she wanted to do it, straight, or by the
Legal,
book
by
and
the book.
everything. So but going by the book did not get her the child because the adoption agency seemed to have a problem with her
Being
being
single.
single. And I don't even get that. Like, I don't understand how someone, like, there are children everywhere
That
who
need
need
love
care.
and care. And it's just this crazy thing, like this idea that you have to, a child has to have the father and mother. I remember having this argument with my uncle one time when I told him I wasn't going to get married, and he was like, blah blah blah, what are you saying? Children need their father and mother. I was like, what exactly do they need the father and mother for? To teach them what that they need to teach them what? Gender roles, or to impart values. What exactly do you need the father and mother for? Anybody can impart values. A single mother, two fathers can impart values, two mothers can impart values, one father can impart values, one mother can impart values. You don't necessarily need a father and a mother to do that. But what you are talking about now is teaching them gender roles. So as the father, you go out and you come back, and when generator is bad, you go and call your daddy. When it's time to go and call your mother. I'm not doing that with my kids.
And
Maybe
it's,
that
fun,
worked your
it's funny
generation,
how
but no.
it's funny how you sneer at single women or single men who want to adopt children and say they are not fit to be parents, but yet there are everyday single mothers, actual single fathers, whether they were widowed or they had partners who ran away
Ran
or
or
who ran out on them, raising children. There are regular, steady stories of people who grew up in single parent families, who grew up and made something out of themselves. Like, why don't, when you hear about a woman who has been widowed, why don't you go and snatch her children away and tell her she's not fit to be
Yeah,
parents?
she's not fit to be a parent.
Why not when you hear about men whose wives absconded from their marriage? Why don't you go and take the children away from them and tell them they're not fit to be parents? So it makes this whole impression we have, especially these adoption agencies pushing this narrative that people who are single parents should not come and adopt children. It makes it very disingenuous. It makes it seem like kind of hypocritical, in fact.
It's more about the premise that's given to marriage. There's this thing about marriage is a smart respectability and everything. So long as you're married, you can be a complete idiot. So if you're married, oh, fine, here's a child, take a child and go. It's just, and it's not just in these situations. You see that, but the bad thing is there. It starts to adversely affect queer people. Like we had a conversation a while back about a friend, who at his workplace was not wasn't passed up for promotion because he wasn't married. And it's like, you are doing a good job, you're doing a fantastic job. They need you at the job, but you're not married, so they're not going to promote you. Like, huh?
It's
crazy.
It's very, very crazy, and I'm glad. I wish people. I wish this book gets out. More people read this book because it's a very important narrative. It shows how. I mean, there was a chapter in it, a narrative in it about a girl, a Muslim girl from the north, who was forced into a marriage. Like, she was young, she was a child, and she was forced into a marriage with a man. Like, there was even things in that book, in that her story about how girls don't run, girls don't are not supposed to be rambunctious. Girls are not like. I don't. This is one of the damages that the Victorian British colonization has done to us, in making us think that women should be demure and down
And just city.
there was one article I was reading that was showing Rihanna. They were trying to say about how Rihanna is what's that when a man sits. When you say
Man spreading.
man spreading, yes, how Rihanna is man spreading her way into dominion, know, and they were showing different pictures, which was quite interesting. When I suddenly noticed that how every time Rihanna sits, she sits with her legs spread apart.
What?
She doesn't sit closed legs and crossed legs and all that. She's not demure. She sits, and it was very, very interesting. And when I was sharing that, when I shared that link, that article with a friend, he was not like, "That's disgusting." That doesn't she know how to be a lady?
What is a lady, please?
I don't know.
What the heck is a lady? How do we describe this thing as a lady?
Clearly, one who crosses the legs and picks up a cup with very dainty
and sips
movement.
Boy, bye.
There's so many things we need to dismantle in our society, and there are so many, because people are different. The moment someone pops out of the womb of the person, takes on an identity that's guaranteed to be different from even the mother who gave birth to him, even the father who contributed in his birth. People are different, and we need to get to that point in life where we start acknowledging that, and not making all these rules that attempt to put people in a straitjacket, like this is how you should be,
And if you are not that way, we're going to punish you for it.
And
this is how you should be, but if you're not like that, it's fine. Okay, everybody's happy, but then this is how you should be. If you are not that way, we're going to punish you for it. Yeah, bisexuality got a lot of bad flack in this book.
Oh God.
Which, it has to be said, is probably deserved, because apparently a lot of people's ideas of bisexuality is I am in exclusive relationships, separate exclusive relationships, exclusively with people of both genders, and it's like, huh?
There is a story in this where the lady was dating another woman, and this woman had a fiance who lives abroad,
and she was pregnant.
For her fiance. But wait, let's just understand this picture. Follow me into this picture I'm trying to paint. Two living lovers in Nigeria, two females. One of them has a boyfriend who lives abroad. Gets pregnant by her boyfriend. Doesn't tell her living lover. Just keeps on getting bigger and bigger. Still doesn't tell her living lover that I am pregnant. Leaving her lover to be making out like, babe, you're adding weight and all that. You still didn't tell, like, up until the point where her sister visited and blotted out, oh, so when is our baby due? That is when the lover got to know that the woman she has been living with is pregnant. How does this help the narrative of the bisexual?
Not so much.
Everyone in the queer community who is homogeneous in his attraction, whether lesbian or gay, most people, there's this strong distrust for bisexuals. And sometimes when I hear all these conversations surrounding bisexuals, and it's very toxic and all that, when I want to get irritated or jump in with this kind of aggression, like, why should you discriminate and all that,
you have to pull back.
I feel like I feel like
you have to pull back, because here's the thing. I think what is playing out with the bisexuals is usually okay. There's a lot of pressure to marry, and all of that for some of them, and also when it comes down to it, internalized homophobia, because even while you are dating somebody of the same sex, there seems to be this insane need to still prove yourself bisexual by having somebody of the opposite sex. And it's like, wait, what? And we had this conversation earlier on. There's this, okay, people seem to understand being bisexual is being, literally having your hands in both pots at the same time.
Great.
What the heck is that?
I tell you, it's greedy. There's this. I have a friend of mine who's lesbian, and she was heartbroken around one period by a lady who was bi, and who was at one point in their relationship, she wasn't even sure whether the lady was going to marry the man she wanted to get married to. Like, she was in this point where we are in a relationship. Can you please tell me what is going on with you and this man? They were not married, and her girlfriend wasn't under any pressure to get married. She was just in that position where she felt like, I should get married, right? And girl, like, but we're in a relationship. So, but now I should have a husband. And so eventually, after stringing her along for a period, she does go ahead and to get married.
Of course. Like, in reading this book, I went, okay. I just get like, whenever I saw, like, it was like a common thread. Everybody, bisexual women.
No.
And it's a common thread. You know, you are in a serious relationship with another woman, and then you're dating a guy on the side, and you don't let her know. Next thing, wedding. What? How does that even work?
It's unfair.
So I guess because clearly with a lot of the stories you can see that a lot of the women, these bisexual women, are actually more comfortable and more themselves in these same-sex relationships. So apparently a lot of this has to do with pressure and, like I said, internalized homophobia. And that's a personal journey people have to like walk, and I'm beginning to realize that dealing with internalized homophobia is a bit more tricky for bisexual people than it probably is like for, like you said, people who have homogeneous attractions, like you know, lesbians, gay men. Dealing with internalized homophobia is probably a bit more tricky because in that I am bi. You know, I like both men and women.
You can't really interrogate it because
it's harder to interrogate it.
Exactly.
Something else. I can't believe I almost forgot this. I realized reading a lot of these stories that queer women process sexual abuse and instances of sexual molestation, sexual harassment differently from heterosexual women, because there was this constant narrative like somebody is sexually harassing you or coming on to you in the wrong way, and you're first thinking, shouldn't I be enjoying this? Especially when I think I don't want this immediately. Yeah. But a common one is thinking, shouldn't I be enjoying this? You know, so it was something else I also picked from book. Like they interpret these instances differently
because
straight to men. You already have this idea that something is wrong with you.
A heterosexual woman isn't battling the conflict in her sexuality. She already knows what she wants. So she knows how she wants to get it. And yes, all women, especially when they are girls, they are little girls and are getting molested, there are some who are defiant against sexual abuse, and there are some who are so buried in conflict that they have to bear it. This is the same for both straight and queer women. But what it's trying to say, which I understand, is that I guess there's a point where heterosexual women are more assertive in their rejection of sexual abuse than queer women, because queer women are in that position where, especially those who haven't quite decided what it is that they want, you get trapped in that position, in that place where you are not like, this is a man, so really shouldn't you want this? Isn't this supposed to be proof that you are supposed to be straight and not desiring women? You get? So yes,
that's something that came up with. And also, like, another interesting thing thread that ran throughout this book is how the characters, the people whose stories are documented here, are really industrious. You know, they are all hustlers. And I guess that is something that comes from a sense of carrying this big secret and knowing that if people really see you for who you are, you might be isolated. So there's this push for independence. I want to have my money. I want to have my stuff.
So you can cut out.
So a lot of the women in the book, their flaws aside, another recurrent theme was wanting to help people. I want to help people. I want to have an NGO that helps people.
Which is quite understandable, because when you're coming from a point where you have been put upon most of your life, where you have been discriminated against, discrimination. That is why empathy, compassion comes quickly to a queer person. You know, when you have been put upon most of your life, you want to get to the point, especially when you've gotten to the point where you have accepted yourself, when you're strong in your understanding of who you are, you want to give back to get people to where you are. But then we have a system in Nigeria that does not allow you to give back. So you find most of these women
wanting to
travel, and this is how we lose humanity. This is how we lose people who are in position, who could be situated in positions to help Nigeria.
That there are a lot of Nigerians who are exiled because that's the only word, or are ready to leave for no other reason than the fact that they feel unsafe in this country. These people are doctors, these people are lawyers, these people are
And
people
you
in all
think,
walks of life, all sort of
it
professionals.
makes me think when we keep praying, God change this country, God change this country.
You think
He
about the
is
economic ramifications of this sort of exodus. All these people with all this potential leaving the country, artists, people from all walks of life leaving the country for no other reason than the fact that they do not feel safe to live and love in their country,
Exactly.
living with their ideas, living with their visions for the world. How do people not see the real cost of homophobia, what it costs this country, what it costs us as humans? Like, I can't deal, because that's the
and
recurring thing. Everybody, I can't. I'm going to leave this country. I'm going to live with my girlfriend. I'm going to leave this country. I don't see myself settling in this country. I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave. Like, almost all the
I
stories.
know a lot of friends, talented people, really, really, people who are, who have innovations in their minds and who have things to offer humanity, all just moving, or all set on getting out of this country, and they go to places like the United States and put their resources, the things that they've
And
been
they
given to contribute to the
flourish.
world, they give it to a system to flourish when they could have put it here. Like when somebody says homophobia kills an economy, or kills, forget the
They
society,
are not
the economy
the
kills an
economy.
economy. It is in fact true,
It
because the
has
economy is
economic
the people.
ramifications. Yeah.
It also kills humanity. There's talking about sexual abuse. There's stories also here of people who were molested, and you find, like, there's a story of a lady who, when she was young, when she was a child, like 12 or 13, her mother caught her kissing another girl and beat the shit out of her, dragged her from deliverance to deliverance. And I'm not just talking churches here. There were herbalists, there were babalawos, everything, the whole 10 yards. Then the girl grew to be 19 or 20 and got raped, and told her mother, and her mother told her, "Why would you be telling me this? That since you've been having sex, you mean to tell me that you've not been asking for it?" How, look at the disparity in humanity. Look at how a mother reacts to just seeing her daughter kissing another girl, and then hearing that her daughter was raped. Like, how do you even compute? How do you process this? These are the things that damage people regularly, day in, day out. When you are so set in homophobia that you forget how to be a human being. It's saddening.
Yeah.
And it's.
And I also realized reading this book, the real damage SSMP has done. Because I guess people from our generation will not really know. Because it was reading the stories from the older women. Because they have a point of reference, how things were before this shitty law.
Yes.
And how things really changed. Like, they were going back about their lives, they were living their lives normally.
Like,
and this law
there were
happened.
people who were, there was an actual freedom.
Yeah.
That
It was
older
a say no
women
evil.
experienced.
It was say no evil sort of thing before the law. Like, they were going about their lives and nobody was, people
Really
knew, but they
questioning
weren't
them.
saying anything. But now somebody actually walk up to you and attack you because they feel empowered by this law. So that was something else that really struck me reading this book. And how there is a generational difference in how people relate to homosexuality. Our grandparents seem to have, people who came out to their grandparents and stuff, the grandparents seem not to have problems with it. The people of our parents' generations, the ones that were bred and buttered in the catechism and the fire, die, they were the most homophobic. So there seems to be like a generational gap in the way this homophobia things, which makes rubbish of this idea that homophobia is homosexuality is not part of our tradition.
Because
Clearly, it is those who are marinated in Christianity, this colonial Christianity, that have a problem with homosexuality.
and that learning that kind of gives me some sort of hope for the future of Nigeria, and because we are now in a generation that is inundated with everything
Information.
queer, you get. So we this generation is having its foundation, and it's my hope that in just the way you have this gap, this generational gap, where the grandparents and great grandparents and people who were more benevolent to the idea of homosexuality, that benevolence skipping the generation of our parents who were brought up with the whips and all the things that had to do with Christianity and by extension homophobia. It now skips to find us. It's my hope that since we are in an age where Christianity, the religion it's losing its hold on the world, on the society. There are more people who are more defiant against all these laws that Christianity seems to imbibe on people. It's my hope that this foundation continues to go on, because like one or two women here also talked about how they intend to raise their children to be grounded in humanity, to be grounded in empathy.
A lot of them talked about it.
Yes, that they intend to bring up their children to appreciate diversity, to respect people based on who they are. Meet someone and just respect that person. And one particularly made a remark about how, in so doing, she hopes that they get to pass it on to their children, and that foundation just keeps expanding.
Which speaks to something I'm always telling people. Like, if you want to fight homophobia, it doesn't. Your first port of call shouldn't be Twitter. Start with your family. You don't need to start with your parents who are probably homophobic and stuff. If you are the oldest sibling, you have siblings, you have younger ones who might not yet have been damaged by these stupid ideas. Start there. Give those in your family who are open to learn as much resources as possible. Play documentaries for them.
You don't let them get away with flippant homophobic remarks.
Exactly.
Check it. When they say things like that, you check it. People say, "Oh, my family, no, but I can go out and make a difference."
Yeah, but because exactly
that difference you start making it from your home. If you're brave enough to tackle people outside, to tackle people on the social media, tackle people on Twitter, Facebook, tackle people out there, actually practice that bravery in your home.
And here's the thing, like, some people grow up in situations where they don't have a real relationship with their parents. It's understandable. But what about your siblings? What about your younger ones? What about people who actually listen to you and who take your words seriously? That's why I keep telling people that sometimes the fear blinds us because we are so scared and afraid of time, which is justified and all of that. But yes, the fear blinds us to teachable moments. And because we are so consumed by fear sometimes, we would miss watershed moments.
Like, I have a story about a friend whose younger brother, this friend is queer, and his younger brother approaches him to talk to him about how some friends in his school were calling one guy homo, and they were beating him, and wanted to know what that was like. What is that? And the guy reported, when he was telling me about it, he was trapped. He didn't know what to say. He mumbled something and just shoot the brother away. That I beg, he doesn't want trouble. And I'm like, are you serious?
Why?
You just missed the moment to change that guy's life.
I had exactly
to redirect his path.
Yeah.
He has been pushed. He had been confronted with homophobia, and you had the moment to turn his concentration
and for
around.
And for him to even walk up to you with this, it means he has some sort of internal conflict about it. That should have been a teachable moment, but because of the fear, I don't want trouble, and you let that slide past. Okay, this young person now, he sees a gay person or an assumed gay person, because this is based on stereotypes. Maybe the guy is effeminate or something, and this person is being bullied, and then he takes part. What then have you done?
Well, this book is rich.
It's very
She Called Me Woman.
And it's by Cassava Republic.
Yes, you can get it from Cassava Republic
or any bookshop around. Yeah.
Or like a lot of people who have been approaching me on Facebook to ask me who don't know how to get to such shows, you can also reach out to Roving Heights on Instagram or on their website, and they can deliver to you. It's a very important book. Very, very important book. It's an eye opener. It's hopefully instills a little more humanity in anyone who reads it, and it's really an important book.
Really human stories.
So yeah, that's it for
today's episode.
Until we come again next time. I'm Walter.
I'm Chidozie.
Bye.
Bye.